Hi guys. So I lied about not intentionally, but it happened again where I went to download this episode and evidently the computer this or it's YouTube or some kind of technological system that doesn't like it when I try to directly um put the file that I have on my drive and upload it to YouTube. So whenever I do that, it disappears. It's not in my recycling bin, it's not anywhere on my YouTube file or folders, and it's not anywhere on my drive files either. So it's just kind of gone again, and I'm super frustrated. But lesson learned, and I'm going to try to find a roundabout way to do it. So the next episode should be the full thing. But again, I'm going to be doing another recap. So if you didn't watch the last video, please go back and watch it because that's going to give you a pretty in-depth summary over what happened the last episode, and I'm going to be doing that for this episode. So, um, the Atash and Vea went to go check out these sewers and didn't end up fighting much of anything. They saw the remnants of the magic circle that was used to teleport everybody in and out, and there was still some arcanic mana that could be felt there, but only a little bit, and not really much else that could be investigated. Just sort of footprints and slight leftovers over what the people were doing. And Bea said that she would bring in some of her men who are helping her investigate and look over the area, kind of lock it down and see what else they can do with it. But they ended up going back to the palace, and they did some more interactions with Erwin, kind of a little bit of an off-screen thing, but the party just kind of goes about their day doing the things that they need to do. Not a lot happens. But the next day when they wake up, Jaren finds or overhears Ember very angrily talking with the Empress, talking about the Empress bringing in a psychopath to somehow look over everybody's safety within the palace. And Ember's trying to negotiate with Empress about bringing in her men instead, her soldiers, the people that are directly under her, as she is the general of the Ember Empire's military. And as Darren is listening into this conversation, he sees the infinite that's kind of diagonal of him just leaning across the wall, just listening, smiling at him. And Darren was like, "Oh, I thought it was you that they were talking about." And he's just kind of chatting with her a little bit, and she's confused. She's like, "Nobody's talked to me like this in a long time. I'm confused why you're talking to me like this." And he was like, "Yeah, well, we're cool, right? Like, you're not gonna do anything to me." And she was like, "Not yet." And so she walks him to his training with Master Lee. And um so Jaren trains, and Atash and Zahira come by again and are just kind of watching over him as he's training. Kerosene goes with them, and they actually all kind of Master Yi has Jaren practice with Kerosene and Zahira, just so he can get some more um unique look at other people's fighting styles, so that he can adapt and use what Master Lee is telling him and teaching him. And he also has some of his siblings join in as well. The festival is still going on, and um maybe it was the same day then. Maybe they didn't wake up. Sorry. Um Or maybe it was later. Sorry, I this was quite a while ago, and I just briefly saw the episode before before trying to summarize it. But yeah, so the part of the festival where Warren, the council member, was setting up a sort of game stand for the festival with his slaves, that gets finished. He finds an artificer and a craftsman that's able to help him put it together, and they've finished shopping for the prizes and stuff that they're going to be doing. So they set that up and are part of that for the next few hours. And within that span of time, Warren's just going around, just talking it up with the locals, trying to also get a gauge over their perspectives and kind of how they're feeling about the political stance at the moment, as well as just working on his reputation with them and trying to increase the rapport with them. And that night, Atash and Zahira decide that they want to go and take a look at the festival and just also want to build up the reputation and kind of talk to some more people, like what he did for Jaren's birthday about just spreading the word and things like that. So um Zahra actually runs into some old friends, one of them being the coworker that Zahira in her actual life had developed some kind of like feelings for. And he was talking with her and just walking with her. And they ended up going and interacting with the council member, Warren, for a little bit, before deciding to go and head home. Meanwhile, Jaren and Kirsten are talking together at the palace. Kirsten wanted to know about the expectations that Jaren had because she had a conversation with Atash previously about that, about not having any expectations of people because that would mean that you can get disappointed. And Atash retorted with, that's kind of insulting to the people that you have a relationship with, and just talking, kind of giving a therapy session to her about that her way of thinking is very toxic to herself and kind of to the relationships that she is in, and having expectations and standards and wanting people to do certain things for and with you is just kind of part of a relationship. And so she's talking to Jaren about what he expects from her, and he tells her nothing. And she's like, okay, well, that completely eradicates what Atash was talking to me about. And she kind of tries to elaborate on it a little bit. And he was like, Jaren eventually just like, I just expect you to love me and for us to, be in this relationship. Like, I don't really have anything specific to give you. And so she's like, oh, okay. Um, and so it gets late enough to where Jaren's like, okay, I gotta go to sleep now. And she needs to leave, so she heads out to go back to Zahira's place. And she meets them, or Kirsten meets Zahira and the guy, the coworker, that she was walking with. And just so I don't have to keep saying the coworker, the name of this guy and kind of the description was, if I can find it. As they're walking, they're just kind of talking about work and the fact that Sahira missed out on the gathering that they had all planned out, and was like, well, what was going on? And Sahira was talking about just having a mission and uh, just having gotten back, and he found that a little weird and found that she was acting a little weird. But Atash manages to kind of come up with enough of an excuse to combat the guy's suspicion. Um, Excuse me. So the coworker that Sahira in her real life had a crush on, his name is Trendalore Mast. He's an 8 foot tall Goliath man. He's got geometric markings on his face and along his arms, dark gray skin, and he carries this giant axe. And he's slightly armored. And so, yeah, so Trendalore walks with Sahira back to her house where they see Karistine outside. And Karistine is wearing her usual getup to hide herself. And he finds that a little suspicious, Trendalore does. But they end up going inside, they get some drinks, and they keep talking for a little bit, just about work. And Trendler is like, "Hey, Kerosene, you're really quiet. Like, tell me a little bit about yourself." And um, Kerosene very gives very short answers, very but specific to his question. Um, and eventually, Sahir is like, "It's really late. You should probably head back." Um, but this was after Sahira had been talking to some locals about there being darklings out and about because of news had spread about the prank, or not really prank, but the disturbance that Atash had called to the journalist a couple episodes back. And Sahir is just trying to spread the word about more about what happened that night. And Trendler came in while Sahir was scaring some of the locals about it. So Trendler's a little concerned, and he was like, "Well, you know, is this is really a thing? I know you're capable, but with you both being here alone, I feel like you need someone that's, very strong and also capable to take care of you guys and to watch you guys and protect you guys." But Sahir is like, "You know how good I am. I do things alone all the time, and I've been living alone for many years now. So just it's fine. You can go home." And so eventually he gives in and leaves. And Kerosene then brings up the conversation that she had with Jaren. Um, and they talk about that for a little bit. And um Atasha's trying to kind of get a gauge off of Keristine's feelings because she's never been very vocal and expressive about it. Um, Jaren kind of realized a little earlier that she has never told him that she loved him, or never said it back to him when he said it to her. And so Atash kind of addressed this, and she was like, "Well, I don't know. I've never even the closest thing I had to someone caring about me growing up was the Emperor. Like he was the closest thing to a dad, but he wasn't even really a dad." And so Atasha's like, "Okay, well, like, how would you feel if Jaren just disappeared or left one day?" And she suddenly got just really sad. And as she was thinking about it, Jaren wakes up because he can kind of get a sort of surface level idea of over how Karistine feels thanks to their magic item that they have. And he wakes up to this feeling and calls Atash and is like, "What's going on? What happened?" And Atash is like, "Oh, no big deal. We're just talking about you," and hangs up. And then Jaren gets super sad, and Kerosene can feel that. So then she's like, "Oh crap, no, call him back." And so she calls him back and is like hurriedly trying to explain the situation. And it was like, oh, I was just, like I brought up that conversation earlier and he and I were just talking about it and he asked me this question and it made me realize something and it made me kind of upset. But it's nothing bad. Like you don't have to worry about it or anything. And so like they get to talking a little bit and just like opening up to each other more emotionally. And Atasha just kind of looks at her expectantly. And Jaren having said like I love you a lot today, just because it was something he had also talked about with his siblings about how much he cared about her, and then telling her multiple times during the day, and he was just kind of like at his limit emotionally saying it. And so as he's there like trying to bring up the emotional courage to say it again, she says it instead, which kind of frazzles him. And she hangs up embarrassed, but they both go to bed happy. So Warren wraps up the festival later in the night and makes sure that Hina slaves are comfortable and well fed before heading to sleep. So I believe that is all that that happened. Hopefully I didn't miss anything too important again. And hopefully the next episode that I post won't disappear into the abyss that is technological data. So thank you guys. Thank you in advance for your patience. And hopefully I will get this all figured out and you guys will see the full next episode. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day.